The name's Doug Bell. I'm a wine grower in Gisborne. I am president of the Gisborne Wine Growers Association and also a member of New Zealand Wine Growers on their research committee. The last vintage was outstanding. It was the best in our 30 years here, without any hesitation. There'll be stunning wines from this vintage. Beautiful, clean, clear dry weather, and gave the winemakers opportunity to do basically whatever they wanted with the grapes. There was no issue in holding them on, and already the wines are showing tremendous promise. They've got lovely fruit flavours and great acidity balance, and so the marketing people are getting excited in getting these wines out to the consumer, and watch out, 2013, grab it. The industry has been through tough times. It's now in a position where there's been some very good and strong positive indicators that we look to have our supply and demand balance in order. Their exports are continuing to rise. We've got a reasonably modest crop the last 2 years, so we're back in balance in terms of supply and demand. There's now enough positive key indicators that there's being reinvestment in the industry, and that that will require staff and managers and supervisors and workers all through the field. I think the primary constraint I see coming up is that of trained people, and by trained I mean that people keen to be part of the industry but already arriving at the industry with some skills, and that's where I see the likes of the Polytech and what it's doing here locally as vitally important. I see that as being one of the primary constraints to the industry. Obviously there's the financial ones, and that's every business faces those, but in terms of our industry presently, I think we're lacking in the skilled people to enter on a supervisory management type roles. This wine course is unique because it gives the students, whether they be young or mature, an opportunity to see the industry for the real industry it is, and that is being out in the vineyard, pruning through to managing the vines, all the work that goes on during the growing season, and then harvesting and making wine from those grapes. It's the complete picture of the wine industry, even through to some aspects of marketing, I believe. And so I think it's a tremendous basis for students to come from the Polytech and into the industry in any form. I think that one of the things we're going to see in this industry, and it's happening in others already, is that small vineyards that used to be viable because of their size and the economies of scale they lack will probably look to become amalgamated. So you'll see more combination vineyards perhaps appear. And these are the vineyards where they will require a supervisor or a manager, and that again, this is where the skill shortage comes from, so that for that to be viable, and these sort of operations are viable because they're bigger and they've got better economies of scale, it means that there's going to be managers required, as opposed to what was once the ma and pa working on the vineyard themselves. It's going to be a bigger entity now, and obviously they would need to employ staff. Where do the staff come from? Presently there's a shortage, and so that's where the Polytech is vital to, I think, the continued viability of the industry. It is unique because it's got a fully working winery, and so for many growers who might want to make small parcels of wine, or small wineries that make small parcels of wine, the Polytech winery can accommodate that. Small parcels are problematic for bigger wineries, and frequently they can't accommodate that because their equipment is so big that it just doesn't tolerate the small packages. If I was sort of interested in the wine course, what should attract me to come to Tairāwhiti to do it? And I guess my answer to that would be, well, there's distinctly a lovely lifestyle. It's a small farming orientated city. but also that there's a diverse range of crops and that the people can work in. And if I was overseas and looking to interested in the wine industry, whether it be just the wines themselves or how they're grown and the impact of what we do in the vineyard and how that translates through to the wine, then Tairāwhiti will offer the standard of life that you might be wanting. It offers the training which will give you the skills then to go into the industry or other horticulture should you diversify into that, and some of the contacts which would see you then able to work locally here within the industry or even go beyond, and for young people, a lot of them are considering doing some training here and spending time working, etc. And if they then have no commitments and or wish to still travel, they can then do Northern Hemisphere vintage and then a Southern Hemisphere vintage, for example. There's almost year-round work even in the wineries aspect, so you can enjoy full-time summers effectively, if you're prepared to travel. But of course, we're trying to encourage people to stay and work on and enjoy the lifestyle, but on a permanent basis. So become the supervisor for a vineyard cooperative or a winery, and work your way up from those levels through to the management. There's really, the sky's the limit. Winemaking might appear to the uneducated to be sitting on a deck with a glass of red wine watching the vines grow. It isn't that. It's actually as hard work like any other job, and so it's part of routines. It's achieving things on time. There's certain jobs that need to be done on time to be effective in the vineyard, but primarily I believe the students will enjoy what they're doing, and that's a major driver. I mean, they have a lot of fun too. I mean, it's vineyard work in the wine industry is a fun industry. It's not onerous, and there's some great people amongst it. There's really very little intellectual property. There's no secrets. I mean, I can talk to another grower about the fact I'm pruning this way, and we'll share notes on it. I mean, it's just a sharing industry, and that makes it really neat.